हेलो एभ्रिवान टुडे आज चाहिँ हल्का इङ्ग्लिसमा हालिदिउँ न त होइन के छ जिन्दगानी मरेला नि ल टुडे आई विल बी एक्सप्लेनिङ अल द थिङ्स अफ द हार्ट अफ द फ्रग इन इङ्ग्लिस लेट्स स्टार्ट फर टुडे आई हेभ नट रिटन इन बोर्ड एन्ड आई हेभ गिभन माई प्रपर नोट बिकज इट इज वान अफ द कम्प्लेक्स टपिक अफ क्लास 11 एनइबी सो लेट्स स्टार्ट्स होइन ल हार्ट हाम्रो शरीरमा पनि हुन्छ हार्ट इज वान अफ द एक्सेसरी अर्गान अफ द ह्युमन बडी एज वेल एज द फ्रग हार्ट अफ फ्रग इज डार्क रेड कलर्ड conical muscular organ situated ventrally to the liver in the pericardial cavity. It is included in the pericardial cavity which is situated ventrally. Ventrally means this is the ventral side, and those side in which there is shadow, that is ventral side, and in which light belongs to, that is called dorsal side. Like this, shadow is downside means ventral side, upper no light is reflecting, so it is called dorsal side. Now it is situated, we can say, in pericardial cavity as well as situated in thoracic cavity between two lungs. It is situated between the thoracic cavity in two lungs. The layer of heart is outer layer we called as pericardium. And peri means outer and cardium means layer, and epicardium is inner layer. There is a fluid between the pericardium and epicardium which is called pericardial fluid. And this membrane is called pericardium membrane. What is this membrane? We called it as pericardium membrane. Then let's talk about pericardial fluid. What does the pericardial fluid helps in? Pericardial fluid in shortly protects from mechanical injury, prevents from friction between the heart and the heart walls. It also helps to provide the nutrition. It helps in the diffusion and effusion of the waste materials. Yes, in these 4 points, and one you have to say mechanical injury, and helps in the contraction and relaxation. We call this systole and diastole movement of the blood in the heart. It provides the frictionless motion to the heart. It keeps the heart moist. It protects the heart from external shock. It also helps in keeping the heart suspended in its proper position. It helps to maintain the proper pressure within the outer side of the heart. Yes. Then firstly we will deal about, I think if you read my note, it is not necessary to read the book. I used to make the notes by using the Arvind Keshari book, then college biology, then Asmita biology. I follow 3 or 4 books, and I also used to see the name MBBS zoology book. So I think it will be beneficial for MCQ question as well. I have been maintaining it in point wise. Let's see about external structure. In this external structure, this is the dorsal view. What is this? Dorsal view. Yes, this is the dorsal view, and this is the ventral view. Let's study about the dorsal view. Dorsal view like this, in which the light is reflecting. Let's see. Dorsal view is this. Here left superior vena cava, here right superior vena cava. It is just like is our opposite. This is my right hand, then this is left auricle. Yes, then left auricle, then this is opposite, this is my left side, and it is right auricle. The septum which divides the left auricle and right auricle is called interauricular septum, and the truncus arteriosus is the one of the aorta of human body that supply the blood from heart to different parts of the body. Here we have common carotid, systemic arc, pulmonary arc. We will be discussing later on about that. right auricular or truncus arteriosus. This is the coronary sulcus that divides the artery with the ventricle. This is called ventricle. Inferior vena cava. We have the dorsal view. Now we will be moving on what dorsal. We will be moving about ventral view. Many of the students are looking this side. Don't look this side. It is not concerned to you. You are only regarded with this. See, this is the dorsal. Sorry, this is the ventral view. Now we will be looking this side. Actually, we look to this side. Now we will be looking this side of heart. Right superior vena cava. This is left superior vena cava. The dotted part is called sinus venosus that collects the blood from right superior vena cava and left superior vena cava and flows the blood to the this side. We have the opening in this what we say right auricle, the deoxygenated blood according to modern view, and oxygenated and deoxygenated blood according to modern view. Let's see, this is the what we is called is we have in this side we have saw this interauricular septum. In this side this is mentioned little. This is called interauricular septum. This is called coronary sulcus, ventricle, inferior vena cava, and this is the main part. This is called sinus venosus. We will be detailing studying about sinus venosus. This is called right auricle. This is called right auricle, and this is called left auricle. Now we are looking this side. Yes, we are looking this side. Then it is actually seen for us. Let's see. This is the right and this is left. Let's see ventral. The anterior end is broad. Auricles we also say atrium. For auricles we also say atrium. Posterior end narrower ventricles. They have thicker walls. Why they have thicker walls and why they have thinner wall will be discussing later on. Yes, we will be discussing later on. Then we continue. As we know, ventricle pumps the blood from the heart to the different parts of the body. So they have thicker wall and thinner wall. They collects the blood. Yes, they collects the bloods. So they are called auricles. Auricles are divided by interauricular septum. I already said that they are divided by interauriculum. This is the interauricular septum. Coronary sulcus, auriculo-ventricular group separates auricle with ventricle. This is called coronary sulcus that separates the auricle with the ventricle. And on the right side of the ventral surface of heart, there is a cylindrical structure called truncus arteriosus, which also divides into two aortic tongue near anterior end of the heart. Anterior end of the heart it's divided into three types of arc. One is common carotid, systemic arc, and pulmonary arc. We will be discussing on the working mechanism of heart about that. And there is a dark and red color, somewhat triangular thin walled structure is present called sinus venosus. What we say? There is a dark and red color, somewhat triangular structure, triangular thin structure is called what we say. It's called sinus venosus. It receives the deoxygenated blood. For the superior vena cava, we call it as precavial, and for inferior vena cava, we call it as postcavial. What we say? We call it postcavial. Don't focus on this. We are reading biology. This is none of our matter. Let's see. Now we are discussing about internal structure of heart. This is the simple internal structure of heart. This is the truncus arteriosus. Let's don't focus there. Let's focus here. Let's start from this side. This is called right superior vena cava. This is called left superior vena cava. This is the left auricle. This is the right auricle. The oxygenated blood to the left auricle comes from the opening of pulmonary vein, and there is this is called interauricular septum that divides the right auricle with the left auricle, and there is a opening called sinus venosus that collects the deoxygenated blood to the right auricle. Then this is the truncus arteriosus. This is the spiral bulb that divides the flow of oxygenated, deoxygenated, and mixed blood. The Right auricular side is known as cavum pulmocutaneous, and the left side of atrium that call is cavum aortium spiral valve. We have semilunar valve, the semilunar valve in the opening of truncus arteriosus. This is the ventricle. Columni arni help in not mixing the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood according to the modern view. Inferior vena cava, and this is the supporting of the vein we say is auriculoventricular aperture. Sorry, this is the opening. There is one of the opening called auriculoventricular aperture, and downside you can see chori tendini. Chori tendini that provides the support. Yes or not? That provides the support to the valve. Now we have, let's discuss, this is the internal structure, and we have said that truncus arteriosus, we called it left aortic trunk and right aortic trunk, and whole we called it truncus arteriosus. The opening of truncus arteriosus is divided into this type. The uh, anterior part we called as common carotid artery that supply the blood or pure blood to the heart. Systemic artery that supply the mixed type of blood to the body, and pulmocutaneous arc supply the blood to the lungs. This is the aortic trunk, truncus arteriosus. Picture is truncus arteriosus. The wall of the heart consists of three layers: outer epidermis wall, yes, wall of the heart, outer epicardium, middle mesocardium, and inner endocardium. Outer epicardium, visceral layer of the peritoneum of the pericardial cavity. Middle mesocardium, this is mesocardium, consists of cardiac muscles. Inner endocardium, inner endocardium, for inner endocardium we have inner endocardium, thin epithelial membrane. Two auricles, right and left, are separated from one another by longitudinal interauricular septum. Right auricle is larger than left auricle. Blood enters to ventricles through sinus venosus flow through the, guarded by two lips, sinus auricular valve. Sinus auricular valve, I am not discussing this more because the more thing we will be discussing on working mechanism. Let's see, for formality we will be discussing on inner structure. Sino auricular valve prevent the back flow of the blood. This is for notes only. Two auricles open into aperture. Two auricles open into aperture. Two auricles open into the ventricle through auriculoventricular aperture. Yes, provided by with two pairs of auriculoventricular valve rises from the dorsal edge of the other from the ventral edge. This has been asked as a IOM 2012 question of MBBS. Both are valve are provided with the fibrous chori tendini, and one MCQ question was like this. According to the old view of mechanism of heart, which structure of the ventricle prevents the mixing of deoxygenated blood with the oxygenated blood, that is called column carni. Pause the video, go rewind and look over there. Ventricle is a most conspicuous triangular chamber of the heart. They contain the deep pocket from the left, from the deep pocket between them, which is prevents the mixing of blood, that is column carni structure. They from the right ventricular side of the ventricle, or tubular trunk arise called truncus arteriosus. It's called truncus arteriosus. It's called truncus arteriosus. Now let's see. Opening of truncus is directed towards the lumbar of truncus. Truncus arteriosus has semilunar valve divided by a second ring of semilunar valve, conus arteriosus phalangium and bulbus arteriosus synegium. Truncus arteriosus is divided into conus arteriosus, phalangium, and bulbus arteriosus synegium. Now look over the difference of this two. Phalangium is a short tubular structure, and synegium is a simply formed by the union of two basal parts of the arteries. Truncus arteriosus is divided into two types: phalangium or neglect this. Conus arteriosus and syzygium pulvus arteriosus. And syzygium pulvus arteriosus. Now the main aim of reading heart is over us. Working mechanism of the heart. The sinus venosus, there is a sino-auricular SA node. It is called pacemaker of the heart because it initiates the heart to contract. Now I think I should talk in my native language because I can understand the students within my native than in this foreign language. I don't prefer to English, but sometimes I need and it has been compulsory to speak in English. ल है त सबैलाई स्वागत छ। आज हामी के पढ्छौँ त भन्दाखेरि वर्किङ मेकानिजम अफ हार्ट पढ्छौँ। अब वर्किङ मेकानिजम अफ हार्ट पढ्नु अगाडि हामीलाई के बुझ्नुपर्छ त भन्दाखेरि मुटु ढुकढुक गर्छ, हाम्रो मुटु पनि ढुकढुक गर्छ, यो फ्रकको मुटु पनि ढुकढुक गर्छ। यो कस्तो हार्ट हो त भन्दाखेरि मायोजेनिक हार्ट हो के। मायोजेनिक हार्ट भनेको के हो त भन्दाखेरि दिमाग होइन मुटुको सुन भन्ने हुन्छ नि, होइन दिमागले मुटुले दिमागको सुन्दैन के, केही पनि सुन्दैन हो। यो माया विरतिका कुरामा पनि हुन्छ, तर त्यतातिर नजा मैले हामी के भन्छ हो त्यो साइन्टिफिकली हो, दिमागको कुरो सुन्दैन मुटुले, के भन्छ इन फ्रग हार्ट र हाम्रो हार्टमा पनि मायोजेनिक हुन्छ। मायोजेनिक हो। कन्ट्र्याक्सन इज इनिसिएटेड इन द हार्ट मसल्स एन्ड नट डिपेन्डेन्ट अन द स्टिमुली फ्रम द ब्रेन। दिमागको केही सुन्दैन यसले। ल हेरौँ है त, यसो मजाक भयो। साइनस भेनसस देयर इज अ साइनो अरिकुलर यसे नोड। यिनीहरूमा एउटा नोड हुन्छ, त्यसलाई हामी के भन्छौँ साइनो अरिकुलर नोड अथवा यसे नोड। इट इज कल्ड पेस मेकर अफ द हार्ट बिकज इट इनिसिएट्स द हार्ट टु द कन्ट्र्याक्ट। हामीले पेस मेकर राख्छौँ नि, हाम्रो हार्ट राम्रोसित चलेन भने यो पनि त्यस्तै हो, हाम्रो नेचुरल पेस मेकर हो। र अझ फर्स्टमा छ द कन्ट्र्याक्सन अफ हार्ट इज कल्ड साइस्टोलिक फेज एन्ड द रिल्याक्सेसन अफ हार्ट इज कल्ड डायस्टोलिक फेज। द सिक्वेन्स अफ इभेन्ट्स ड्युरिङ वान कम्प्लिट हार्टबिट इज नोन एज कार्डिक साइकल हो। र अर्को छ यो मायोजेनिकको कुरो भइहाल्यो है त। दि हार्ट अफ द फ्रग बिट्स एट द रेट अफ 20 to 25 र हाम्रो चाहिँ 70 देखि 75 को रेन्जमा दौडिन्छ एउटा ह्युमन नर्मल बडी, यङ बडी। when the auricles are full of blood they contract simultaneously driving their blood into the ventricle through auriculoventricular aperture. There are two views regarding the function of the ventricle है त। अब हामीले के जान्नुपर्छ त भन्दाखेरि फिगरबाट मैले अझै राम्रोसित बुझाउन सक्छु। फिगर हेरौँ है त। ल है त म तपाईँलाई के बुझाउने कोसिस गर्छु त भन्दाखेरि मेन जिस्ट बुझाउने कोसिस गर्छु कि यो अब सुरुमा ब्लड कहाँबाट कहाँ सर्कुलेट हुन्छ भन्ने जान्नुपर्छ कि। यो फिगर दिमागमा आएन भने नि वर्किङ मेकानिजम बन्दैन। ल हेरौँ है त। सुरुमा हाम्रो इन्फिरियर भेना काभा र सुपेरियर भेना काभाबाट ब्लड कलेक्ट हुन्छ। हामी सुरुमा ओल्ड भ्यू हेर्छौँ है, बाट कलेक्ट हुन्छ ब्लड, सबै बडीको पार्टबाट कलेक्ट हुन्छ हो, सबै बडी पार्टबाट कलेक्ट हुन्छ। र यो कहाँ जम्मा हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि हाम्रो यहाँ छ, यहाँ दिइरहन्छ क्या यो साइनस भेनसस, यो ओपनिङ छ नि, ओपनिङ अफ साइनस भेनससबाट हो, ओपनिङ अफ साइनस भेनससबाट यो भागमा जान्छ। यो भागलाई हामी के भन्छौँ राइट अरिकल अथवा राइट आर्टियम पनि भन्छौँ। र यहाँ जान्छ है त, यो यहाँ जान्छ। अब यहाँबाट यो यहाँ जान्छ र हाम्रो लेफ्ट अरिकलमा लङ्सबाट अक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड आएको हुन्छ, अक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड पनि आएको हुन्छ यता लेफ्टतिर। र राइटतिर हाम्रो डिअक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड बाई दि ओपनिङ अफ साइनस भेनसस। साइनस भेनसस भनेको के हो त भन्दाखेरि भेनसस अफ प्री क्याभियल भेन एन्ड क्याभियल भेन भन्छ कि। यसलाई क्याभियल भेन भन्छ, यसलाई पोस्ट क्याभियल भेन भन्छ र सुपेरियर भेना काभालाई हामी प्री क्याभियल भेन भन्छौँ है त। त्यो सबै ब्लडहरू ट्रङ्कस आर्टियस ट्राइङ्गुलर ओपनिङ भनिरहेको थिएँ नि मैले, ट्राइङ्गुलर ओपनिङ बा हाम्रो राइट अरिकलमा ब्लड जान्छ। राइट अरिकलमा ब्लड गइसकेपछि यो भागमा ब्लड गइसकेपछि यहाँ एउटा ओपनिङ हुन्छ, यहाँ के हुन्छ ओपनिङ हुन्छ। यसलाई अरिकुलर भेन्ट्रिकुलर एपेचर अथवा अरिकुलर भेन्ट्रिकुलर ओपनिङ भन्छौँ। र यहाँ तिन भल्भ पनि हुन्छ, यो यताबाट पनि जान्छ र यो यताबाट पनि जान्छ, राइट अरिकुलरबाट पनि जान्छ, लेफ्ट अरिकुलरबाट पनि जान्छ। यताबाट डिअक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड कलेक्टिङ बाई दि साइनस भेनसस एन्ड अक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड बाई दि पल्मिनरी भेन। अब यहाँबाट छिरिसकेपछि यो भागमा जान्छ नि, अक्सिजिनेटेड डिअक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड राइटतिर जम्मा हुन्छ, अक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड लेफ्टतिर जम्मा हुन्छ र बिचमा पनि हल्का मिक्स टाइप अफ ब्लड हुन्छ, तर ग्रेटली कसले तिनीहरूलाई मिक्स हुन दिँदैन त भन्दाखेरि कोलोनी कार्नीले ग्रेटली प्रिभेन्ट गर्छ, तिनीहरूलाई मिक्स हुनै दिन्न त्यसले हो, तिनीहरूलाई मिक्स हुनै दिन्न। र अब यो भइसकेपछि यो फेरि कन्ट्र्याक्ट हुन्छ, भेन्ट्रिकल कन्ट्र्याक्ट हुन्छ। भेन्ट्रिकल कन्ट्र्याक्ट भइसकेपछि यो ट्रङ्कस आर्टियोसिसबाट चाहिँ हाम्रो हार्टको ब्लड चाहिँ सबै बडीमा फ्लो हुन्छ। अब ट्रङ्कस आर्टियोसिसमा यस्तो 3टा आर्कहरू छन्, ल हेरौँ। सुरुमा छ कमन कारोटिड आर्क। अब यो कमन कारोटिड आर्क चाहिँ ब्रेनतिर जान्छ। ब्रेनतिर कस्तो ब्लड लैजान्छ त, यो स्पाइरल भल्भले गर्दाखेरि यो स्पाइरल भल्भले कन्ट्रोल गरेर प्योर ब्लड हाम्रो कमन कारोटिडमा जान्छ है त, कमन कारोटिडमा जान्छ। हल्का डिस्टर्ब भयो है, म कहाँ पुगेको थिएँ त भन्दाखेरि कमन कारोटिड आर्कमा पुगेको थिएँ। कमन कारोटिड आर्कबाट हाम्रो प्योर ब्लडहरू जान्छ ब्रेनमा। सिस्टमिक आर्कमा हाम्रो इम्प्योर ब्लडहरू जान्छ। कस्तो ब्लडहरू जान्छ अरे, हाम्रो इम्प्योर ब्लडहरू जान्छ। हाम्रो सिस्टमिक आर्कमा हाम्रो इम्प्योर ब्लडहरू जान्छ। र पल्मोक्युटानस आर्कमा चाहिँ लङ्सतिर जाने चाहिँ हाम्रो के हो त भन्दाखेरि डिअक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड हो। कस्तो ब्लड हो, डिअक्सिजिनेटेड है त। लङ्सतिर जाने चाहिँ हाम्रो डिअक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड हो। लङ्सतिर जाने डिअक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड हो। यति नै हाम्रो के सिद्धिन्छ त भन्दाखेरि ओल्ड भ्यू सिद्धिन्छ। त्यस्तै मोडर्न भ्यूले के भन्छ त, मोडर्न भ्यू वाज गिभन बाई भेन्डरभेल एन्ड फोक्सन है त, मोडर्न भ्यू। अब हामी के कुरा गरौँ त भन्दाखेरि अब हामी के कुरा गरौँ मोडर्न भ्यूमा है त। मोडर्न भ्यूमा केही छैन। मोडर्न भ्यूले के भन्छ त भन्दाखेरि यहाँ आइसकेपछि यो सबै मिक्स हुन्छ अरे कि, यो ब्लड चाहिँ सबै मिक्स हुन्छ। र यसले के भन्छ त भन्दाखेरि हामीलाई के थाहा हुनुपर्छ, हाम्रो बक्को फ्यारिन्जियल क्याभिटीमा पनि रेस्पिरेसन हुन्छ, स्किनमा पनि रेस्पिरेसन हुन्छ भनेपछि त्यहाँ पनि ब्लड भेसलहरू हुन्छन्, त्यहाँ पनि डिफ्युजन हुन्छ, त्यहाँबाट पनि अक्सिजन क्यारी गरेको हुन्छ, कार्बन डाइअक्साइड दिएको हुन्छ भनेपछि हाम्रो यो इन्फेरियर र राइट सुपेरियर भेना काभा, लेफ्ट सुपेरियर भेना काभा, इन्फेरियर भेना काभाबाट हाम्रो कस्तो ब्लड आउँछ त भन्दाखेरि हाम्रो एउटा अक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड पनि आउँछ, अर्को चाहिँ डिअक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लडहरू पनि आउँछ भनेपछि यहाँ आउने ओपनिङ अफ साइनस भेनससबाट आउने अग्निसम्म आएको थिएन, डिअक्सिजिनेटेड ब्लड मात्र आएको थियो। अब चाहिँ अक्सिजिनेटेड पनि आयो, डिअक्सिजिनेटेड पनि आयो र यहाँबाट सबै तलतिर अरिकुलर भेन्ट्रिकुलर एपेचरबाट तलतिर भेन्ट्रिकलतिर जाँदाखेरि यो सबै के हुन्छ भनिदियो त यसले भन्दाखेरि मिक्स हुन्छ। के हुन्छ, सबै मिक्स हुन्छ र सबै ब्लड यो सबैबाट हाम्रो इम्प्योर प्योर सबै मिक्स ब्लडहरू सबै भागमा जान्छ भन्ने कुरालाई चाहिँ हामी के भन्छौँ, हामी चाहिँ यसको मेन जिस्ट भनेको यही हो। र म यसको 3-4वटा पोइन्ट मात्र लेख्दैछु, त्यो पनि देखाइदिइहाल्छु। It was given by Vanderbilt in 1933 and Foxon in 1955. According to this view, there is a complete mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in the ventricle takes place from oxygen injected radioactive substance in the sinus venosus and took cerebral X-ray photographs to know their distribution in the blood. Hence, the sinus venosus, in addition to the deoxygenated blood from the viscera, also receives oxygenated blood from the buccal cavity and skin हो। त्यस्तै this mixed blood goes into the right auricle. The blood from the two auricles mixes in the ventricle. The ventricle pumps mixed blood are purified at different parts of the body due to the different modes of respiration like buccopharyngeal respiration, cutaneous respiration and pulmonary respiration. This much for today. Thank you.